Richard Starkey entered the world on July 7, 1940, in Liverpool's working-class Dingle district, emerging from a childhood characterized by illness, adversity, and extended hospital confinements to become among the most influential drummers in popular music chronicle. His early years proved far from simple. Raised by a single mother, young Richard spent substantial portions of his childhood in hospital facilities, recuperating from peritonitis and tuberculosis, ailments that maintained him isolated from other children, but also introduced him to basic percussion instruments utilized for rehabilitation. These early encounters, though challenging, established the groundwork for the rhythmic sensibilities that would subsequently transform modern music's landscape. When Richard finally returned to educational institutions, he lagged considerably behind his classmates, and academics no longer possessed significance for him. Instead, he gravitated toward music, cultivating a fascination with the skiffle phenomenon sweeping Britain throughout the mid-1950s. As he matured, he embraced the name Ringo Starr, partially motivated by the rings he displayed, and partially to provide his drum performances a Western-sounding character. He joined Rory Storm and the Hurricanes, among Liverpool's most celebrated ensembles, and swiftly became the most discussed drummer in the city's flourishing club landscape. His consistent timing, comfortable swing, and left-handed drumming on a right-handed configuration made his approach instantly identifiable. During the Hurricanes' residency in Hamburg, Germany, Ringo encountered a young ensemble called the Beatles, forming a professional connection that would alter his existence permanently. In 1962, when the Beatles determined to replace their original drummer, Pete Best, they contacted Ringo. His inclusion signaled a pivotal moment in the ensemble's chemistry and sonic quality. With his rock-solid timekeeping, creative fills, and steadfast professionalism, Ringo completed the ultimate component of the Beatles' formula. He became not merely the band's drummer, but also its pulse, a stabilizing presence who equilibrated the contrasting personalities of John Lennon, Paul McCartney, and George Harrison. His drumming on recordings like A Day in the Life, Rain, Ticket to Ride, and Come Together demonstrated a subtle excellence that elevated the Beatles' music beyond conventional pop and rock limitations. Although not as prolific a composer as his bandmates, Ringo delivered memorable lead vocals on masterpieces such as Yellow Submarine, With a Little Help from My Friends, and Octopus's Garden, compositions that disclosed his humor, warmth, and capacity to engage with listeners of all ages. Following the Beatles' dissolution in 1970, Ringo initiated a successful solo profession that astounded critics and satisfied supporters. His early recordings produced multiple worldwide successes, including It Don't Come Easy, Photograph, and You're 16, songs that exhibited his talent for sincere melodies and his lasting charisma. Throughout the decades, he partnered with a remarkable roster of musical icons, from members of the band to Elton John, Harry Nilsson, Mark Bolan, and occasionally his former Beatles colleagues. In 1989, he assembled the inaugural formation of the All-Star Band, a rotating supergroup of accomplished musicians who toured globally and honored not merely Ringo's collection, but also the classics of every participant on stage. These tours became treasured assemblies of musical joy, securing Ringo a standing as among the most positive influences in the entertainment field. Beyond his musical accomplishments, Ringo Starr is honored for embodying a message of peace, unity, and compassion. His signature expression, peace and love, has become simultaneously a personal principle and a global inspiration. Annually on his birthday, supporters around the world assemble to proclaim peace and love at noon, a tradition he initiated to promote togetherness in a fragmented world. His persistent optimism, gentle wit, and authentic appreciation for the existence he's experienced make him among the most respected personalities to emerge from the 1960s cultural transformation. Starr's personal journey through love. Richard Starr's personal existence has long been a subject of intrigue for Beatles enthusiasts, and two women particularly played defining functions in shaping his path beyond celebrity and music. His initial marriage was to Maureen Cox, a warm, grounded, and committed woman who entered his existence long before global fame transformed him from Richard Starkey into the world-famous Ringo Starr. The two wed in 1965 at Beatlemania's peak, a period when the band could scarcely venture outside without being surrounded by adoring crowds. Yet despite the chaos surrounding them, their wedding remained an intimate reminder of Ringo's origins, a connection to his youth in Liverpool. Maureen had been a devoted Beatles enthusiast before becoming part of their inner circle, and their early connection possessed the intensity, secrecy, and excitement that accompanied being involved with a Beatle during the group's cultural explosion. Throughout their marriage's decade, Maureen proved a consistent presence in Ringo's existence. She maintained a reputation for protecting her family intensely, even physically confronting aggressive supporters who approached too closely to the couple or their children. Ringo frequently discussed Maureen with affection, emphasizing her loyalty during a phase when fame's pressures, constant travel, and the emotional turmoil within the Beatles could have easily fractured any relationship. Despite the era's glamour, both Ringo and Maureen confronted the private obstacles that accompanied celebrity, extended separations, the band's demanding schedule, and the temptations that accompanied worldwide fame. By 1975, after a decade characterized by love, strain, and substantial lifestyle transformations, the couple divorced. Though painful, the separation was managed with mutual appreciation, and they remained connected through their children, maintaining a sense of family long after their romantic connection concluded. Several years afterward, after managing post-Beatles life's complexities and reassessing his personal priorities, Ringo Starr discovered a fresh and lasting affection with Barbara Bach, an American actress and former Bond girl whom he married in 1981. Their connection commenced on the set of the film Caveman, a quirky prehistoric comedy that unexpectedly became the origin of a lifelong partnership. Barbara's elegance, intelligence, and consistent emotional presence resonated profoundly with Ringo, who at that moment was pursuing a more grounded and spiritually aligned existence. Their wedding, held in London, became a symbol of renewal for Ringo, signaling a fresh chapter that proved far more stable, harmonious, and emotionally satisfying than many anticipated. Following the 1970s turbulence, Barbara Bach would proceed to become not merely Ringo's wife, but also his closest confidant and partner in personal development. Together, they navigated sobriety, personal transformation, and a quiet, deeply connected form of companionship that contrasted sharply with Ringo's earlier fame's chaotic years. Their marriage evolved into among the longest and most respected relationships among the extended Beatles family, and lasting love narrative constructed on mutual support, shared recovery, and the comfort of a partnership that has persisted for over 4 decades. Even as Ringo continued touring, recording, and celebrating his musical heritage, Barbara remained beside him, providing balance, encouragement, and a sense of home that he frequently described as essential to his well-being. The complicated dynamic with Paul McCartney. Ringo Starr, the Beatles' legendary drummer, is frequently remembered for his cheerful disposition, his clever remarks, and his capacity to maintain peace among the famously volatile Fab Four. Yet behind his agreeable exterior, there existed a complex and frequently strained connection with Paul McCartney, a relationship that at certain moments could be characterized as profoundly antagonistic. Ringo himself didn't soften his language when discussing his feelings toward McCartney during and even following the band's dissolution. In conversations spanning decades, Starr has confessed that moments existed when he genuinely harbored a substantial dislike for McCartney, a sentiment that surprised numerous supporters who had always presumed the Beatles' fellowship was as seamless offstage as it appeared onstage. Ringo's frankness about his emotions proves striking, and it furnishes an uncommon window into the tensions that simmered beneath the surface of among the most legendary bands in music chronicle. In his personal words, Ringo once stated, "I couldn't tolerate him at moments more than anyone else. Paul pushed me to my boundaries." This statement's intensity proves noteworthy because it originated from someone extensively considered the most even-tempered and accommodating Beatles member. Ringo's perceived neutrality frequently concealed the very genuine frustrations he experienced while collaborating with Paul. Unlike John Lennon, whose sharp wit and rebellious character were more predictable, Paul's perfectionism and occasionally domineering approach to composition and band choices frequently left Ringo feeling marginalized and underappreciated. These feelings were intensified by Paul's insistence on meticulous planning and control over musical arrangements, which occasionally conflicted with Ringo's more instinctive, relaxed drumming approach. In numerous respects, the tension reflected a broader dynamic within the band, a collision between Paul's relentless ambition and Ringo's preference for simplicity and harmony. The friction between Starr and McCartney became particularly pronounced in the late 1960s, a phase characterized by the Beatles' once solid fellowship's unraveling. During the White Album's recording, Ringo famously departed sessions for multiple days, overwhelmed by the petty disputes and passive-aggressive behaviors that permeated the studio. While John and George were absorbed in their personal disagreements, Paul's relentless drive to shape the music to his exacting standards frequently made Ringo feel invisible, as though his contributions were secondary. He has openly characterized this phase as draining and isolating, emphasizing that his dislike for Paul at that moment was rooted not in personal animosity alone, but in a profound sense of frustration at being undervalued. He simply never permitted anyone to execute their approach, Ringo acknowledged in subsequent conversations. He always did it the way Paul wanted it, or nothing, and I grew fed up more than anyone. He irritated me. Yet Ringo's feelings toward Paul weren't purely negative. They were complex, layered, and informed by decades of friendship, rivalry, and shared chronicle. Starr has frequently contemplated the fact that substantial portions of his animosity were situational, connected to fame's pressures, recording stress, and the personal insecurities of a young drummer navigating Beatlemania's impossible standards. He has confessed that time, perspective, and maturity ultimately softened these feelings. While he once despised Paul more than anyone, he subsequently recognized that their conflicts were part of a larger narrative of creative tension, mutual influence, and the occasional clash of strong personalities. In a frank conversation years following the breakup, he acknowledged, "I may have despised him at moments, but that was also the energy that drove some of the finest music we ever created." Interestingly, public perception of Ringo's animosity towards Paul frequently oversimplified the reality. Media narratives regularly portrayed the Beatles as a band divided strictly along personality boundaries, with Ringo as the passive observer caught in the middle. Yet Ringo himself has consistently stressed that his feelings were never static. They ebbed and flowed, influenced by personal circumstances, the music industry's pressures, and the unique personal dynamics within the band. Emotional baggage of a band that had matured together from teenagers into worldwide superstars. His frank acknowledgement of moments when he despised Paul more than anyone underscores not merely his honesty, but also the human complexity behind the Beatles' mythic narrative. It represents a reminder that even icons are capable of profound, occasionally uncomfortable emotions, and that friendship and collaboration's bonds are rarely straightforward. Ultimately, Ringo Starr's complicated connection with Paul McCartney functions as a fascinating perspective through which to view the Beatles' inner workings. Starr's readiness to discuss openly his moments of genuine animosity for McCartney, tempered by years of reflection and comprehension, discloses someone who felt profoundly, who was intensely loyal to his sense of self, and who ultimately valued honesty above pretense. His statements, both sharp and contemplative, remain an essential component of the Beatles' heritage, a testament to the human struggles that underpinned among the most celebrated musical partnerships in Chronicle. As Ringo himself expressed it, "I loved them all, but moments existed when I couldn't tolerate Paul more than anyone, genuinely." Recognition and legacy. In 2015, a significant milestone signaled Ringo Starr's lasting heritage in the music realm. 27 years following his initial induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as among the legendary Beatles, Starr achieved a distinctive honor. He became the final Beatle to be acknowledged for his accomplishments as a solo performer. While John Lennon, Paul McCartney, and George Harrison had each been inducted into the Hall under the prestigious Performers category, Starr's induction stood apart, positioning him in the exclusive Musical Excellence category, a fitting recognition of his distinctive contributions, not merely as a drummer, but as a creative force whose musical influence extended far beyond the Beatles period. This distinction celebrated Starr not merely as a member of among the most influential bands in Chronicle, but as an artist whose solo work had established its personal position in the rock and pop music pantheon. Thank you for watching this revealing exploration of Ringo Starr's complex relationship with Paul McCartney. If this story of honesty, tension, and musical genius resonated with you, please like this video, subscribe to our channel for more fascinating Beatles stories and music history, share this with fellow music lovers, and drop a comment below sharing your thoughts on the Beatles dynamic. Your support helps us continue sharing these incredible stories. See you next time.